I just want to throw this one out there because
Yes.
before we start, we are 15 days away from it being 1 year since the New Mutants trailer dropped.
That movie that's not coming out until
That movie
almost
that
a year from now.
isn't coming out till almost a year from now. That means the trailer will have been out for almost 2 years before the actual movie comes out. That is insane.
That's hype all lost.
I cannot
right
think
there.
of another situation where a trailer comes out and then the movie comes out years after that, or
Yeah.
at least not to this extent.
And that will segue into our main topic, which is
X-Men, baby.
All right, so
X-Men, good.
Dark
Mutants.
Dark Mutants, New Phoenix. Let's get right into it. I'm going to start
Dark
playing.
Man Phoenix.
I'm going to start playing the trailer.
Full blast from
No.
the small computer, and we're going to see if we can follow along.
You think you can fix me?
0. I'm sorry.
All right, pause it. So a good significant chunk of this movie is going to start out with the young Jean Grey, like 7 or 8 years old, and the actress going to play her and stuff.
See, I think it's going to be peppered in throughout the movie.
Peppered in
Yeah,
throughout?
it's gonna be peppered in throughout the movie.
Well, the first like third of this trailer is just footage of her, but then you're right, it could be like misleading as far as that goes.
I don't want child actors to be.
Well, no one
throughout
wants a
the
child
most of the
actor.
movie.
Nobody wants child actors.
I mean,
Yeah.
as
nobody
far
wants
as,
bad child actors. Let me
Yeah.
put that.
yeah,
No,
I,
that's
I
true.
think
I like
a lot
the
of
kid
it.
from Looper.
Yeah, a lot of it depends on the scenes that they're in. This just seems to be like her being a little bit troubled, and it's mostly Charles trying to do stuff to her and like be like,
Yeah.
"Hey, I'm trying to
Listen,
protect
she's
you."
meeting a strange man in a wheelchair for the first time.
In a big mansion,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
can be taken in a certain number of ways. But so far, from the first, was that 8 seconds?
8 seconds.
I'm
Banger
buying into
alert.
it
Are they
already.
2 minute and 8 second trailer?
All right, 2 more minutes, guys.
Let's hit play.
All right, stop right there. That was
is-
the 20th Century Fox logo. No.
Mind is a fragile thing. Takes only the slightest tap.
So this is what I don't understand. If you want to pause it again, I have another small tidbit on this. So the official synopsis says that they go to space to stop like a space threat, and then in space something goes wrong, and Jean Grey like
Is
either
inhabited by the Dark Phoenix.
either yeah she gets inhabited, but in the trailer it makes it look like she's had the Dark Phoenix as a kid, and Charles like suppressed it.
I think what it's going to be is it's going to be that there's an innate inert power within Jean that is going to be awoken by the space trip.
Right.
Why
it's
did they go to
really-
space?
That's
I'm
what,
sorry.
another thing. It surprises me that they're going to go full out with this, like adapting the story this true to it, because they do go to space to fight an alien threat.
That is totally fine by me
so-
because what was the reason for the Dark Phoenix awakening in The Last Stand? Jean died at the end of X2.
Yeah, and then the water. Well, she used a lot of her powers because her eyes went red, and then she died, and then there was a phoenix
but like
in the water.
also my biggest criticism is X2 ends. Jean has short hair, and then when she comes back, she has long hair. Like she was just casually
she
growing.
wasn't
her hair
dead. She
out.
was just
Well, when you
standing
die-
around growing
when you
it
die,
out.
your hair doesn't stop growing.
That's not true at all. Anyways,
I'm always right.
So Jean is currently laying down with a bunch of.
Hank looks really concerned. It's
Two
something else
dots.
I want to touch on later on in the trailer, but Hank as a character does some pretty
She
out of
also has
character things.
A very early stage Apple Watch.
Yeah, this is the 90s. It looks like a pager strapped and
I
taped
hate
to her
the
arm with
fact
duct
that
tape.
I hate the fact that this movie's taking place in the 90s.
I like it.
No, let me explain why. That means it's been 30 years since Bay of Pigs.
Are you talking about
and they look the
how
same.
every movie is a decade removed, but they all look like they've aged 1 year?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's...
So annoying.
They just need to explain that they age slowly. That's it.
Or at least, I think you
all.
could have gotten away with the 10-year jump between First Class and Days of Future Past, and then just been like, okay, 2 years later it's Apocalypse, 2 years later it's Dark Phoenix.
But that'd all be in the 70s or 60s or whatever.
That's fine.
But it's clearly not. Oh, you're saying they could have?
They could have, is my point.
Yeah, they
Okay.
But they haven't, and they've jumped 30 years, and it just looks so...
They should all be like middle-aged or more.
Exactly, especially considering at the beginning of the movies, they're all middle-aged. I'd argue
We're middle-aged.
approaching middle age
Yeah.
to begin with, because they're all in their late 20s and early 30s.
this is a solution to the Magneto problem if they reboot it in the MCU. Just like cast an old guy who's like 70 or 80 and just don't say how old he is. Just imply that he's been as old as Holocaust. Oh,
Call back to the Logan, what did you do line from the Logan trailer.
call
was
back
good.
to the original sliding doors from X-Men 2000 that carried into that trilogy. I love this.
Those are so nice.
So good.
I have to keep her stable. I protected her.
From the truth.
Hey, look, it's a 90s car, because this is the 90s.
Now this I love.
It implies she caused the accident.
There's no place
All
like
right, pause it.
home.
I know
does
I'm probably going to say sound cliche while saying this, but it looks like Last Stand, but even better. Like the good version of the adaptation, because I
Yeah.
love the idea that Charles saw this is what she did as far as with the family, like the tragic accident because of the Phoenix, and he's like, I better suppress this.
Do you think?
I'm not so certain that adapting it the same way that the Last Stand adapted it
You mean
is
poorly?
idea.
yeah, like with the same kind of like premise where Charles blocked her mind, and then later on in life, she's like, "Why'd you block my mind?"
I thought you were
Charles-
gonna say where Charles exploded.
Oh my God, Charles exploded.
I remember that.
Well, because I'll talk to you
blows
about
up.
this. I'll talk to you about this, Ian. But Mud and I were talking about how every movie they have to nerf Professor X, otherwise he solves all the problems immediately. And in the third movie, they blow him up halfway through the movie. Like from a molecule standpoint, like everything just explodes.
So I'm just gonna go on a small tangent here. That is the best way to nerf someone in any movie. Just blow
Like
them
the
up.
first one, she put a serum in him and he was out. X2, they were mind.
They capture him
They
immediately.
capture him immediately. X3, they blow him up.
Like,
halfway through
that's
the movie.
such a big jump.
It wasn't like, oh, I'm a little bit distraught. It's like, oh, he doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, they
Boom.
He phased out of
like
existence.
there's no other way to put it other than they blow
They
him up.
Yeah,
explode him.
they just
In the first movie, he's a reluctant hero. I'm talking about the new trilogy now.
Yep.
Second movie, he's got this the serum that makes him walk, but also conveniently suppresses his powers.
And then Apocalypse, they made Apocalypse also have mind powers, so that way he couldn't solve all the problems immediately.
Yep.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So they had a mind fight.
I like the mind fight.
That was pretty good.
I also like the.
Are we gonna
fight.
get back into the argument of why I like Apocalypse?
No, it's not like a terrible movie. It's just
It's good.
There's another word for that. I came looking for answers.
so.
Magneto?
Magneto's the
That
bad
is,
guy.
No. He's doing. Oh my God, what's it called? It's from the comics. It's like a mutant paradise.
Oh, Genosha.
Genosha.
Yep.
He's doing Genosha.
I
I'm
don't
happy.
think so.
No, this
The
totally
planet of
Genosha.
Star
And
Wars.
it's an island.
No, that's Geonosis.
Oh, my bad.
Octu? No, it's an island, but it's not.
It's an island.
Well, it's not 1-to-1 Genosha, but it's a Genosha concept.
I think Fox has learned their lesson from juggling too many mutant stories in one movie, especially one pertaining to Dark Phoenix.
Well, I don't think it's going to be a story. I think it's just going to be a background element of like, oh, hey, Eric founded Genosha because it's been 10 years. And at the end of Apocalypse, Magneto is decidedly good. You can't argue that. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was decidedly bad at the end of Days of Future Past. He was gray at the end. He was decidedly bad at the end of First Class. He was decidedly gray at the end of Future Past. This one, he is, or end of
end of
Apocalypse, he was decidedly good. So
Yeah.
I like that they've taken it in that stride of like, oh, he built Genosha because he still has those problems with humans.
Well-
so what he's going to do is he's going to say, hey, how about we make our own little safe space?
Some people do say that Magneto flipping sides every other movie and always getting back and forth is a bit annoying, but I think that in every single X-Men movie, even the bad ones, he always has reasons for doing
Yeah.
what he does.
No,
even the
he's-
worst ones, he's always like a well-written
And I'd argue
character.
the only movies in the original trilogy that he really does that is X2. And even then, he doesn't switch sides to be good. He switches sides because, hey,
He also wants to kill all the humans.
no, it's. I mean, X2 is a pretty contained story of just like, hey, all these mutants got kidnapped. Let's go rescue them.
Pretty
that
much.
just happened to be Wolverine's gang and Magneto's gang's missions aligned.
Well, that was
so-
kind of the gimmick of that movie, was that like Magneto's going to do like help the X-Men, and Charles and Magneto
And also,
are friends.
let's not
so-
forget, Magneto has the most baller jail breakout scene in that movie.
Absolutely.
Just
One of the
floating
best
forward.
Magneto scenes in any of the movies still
That's true.
is in X2 when he breaks out of that plastic prison with those three little things.
3 little balls of iron.
So good.
It's
Just that
really
moment where
nice.
he's drawing it out and he's like, too much iron in your blood.
I like how he makes one of them the little like platform and then the other two orbit while he just kind of crosses his arms and it's
Such a great scene.
It is
work of
really
art.
good.
Yep.
Love that movie. Anyway, so in this one, just his face alone got me like jazzed when I first like yes.
Yeah.
So let's watch more.
I keep pausing on those moments, like,
They can't begin to comprehend.
Quicksilver, Storm.
All right,
I don't
pause
know,
it here.
who was that?
How do you think
That was
they're
Beast.
going to incorporate the lesser, like the Storms and the Quicksilvers in this movie? Because previously they haven't really had a whole lot of screen time.
I disagree on Quicksilver.
Yeah,
Quicksilver is-
No, I want Quicksilver to have more screen time, but that's besides the point.
That's the no. I agree. I want Quicksilver to have more screen time. I disagree that Quicksilver has been pushed to the side, though. I think Quicksilver has been.
I mean, he was
maybe
the-
more so in Apocalypse. Like he got some screen time in Apocalypse. He got some character development. But I'd argue Quicksilver
I'll give
is
you
an
that.
established.
I forgot about the whole "He's
Well,
my dad" arc in
I
Apocalypse.
think they're
so,
going to
yeah.
explore that
It's not
more
just
in
that.
this movie
It's,
as well.
it's also Quicksilver learning he can use his powers for good. Because
True.
it's
Well,
He's
it's
a
not that he used it
petty
for.
thief.
He never used it for evil. He just wants to use it for
yeah,
selfish
he just
reasons.
doesn't care.
Yeah.
It's not about using his powers for good. It's using his powers for a selfless act.
Yeah.
You know, like breaking his dad out of prison, the time in the bottle scene, and then when he saves the entire X-Mansion to
That was
Sweet
super good.
Dreams, which is the best scene in Apocalypse.
Easily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My second favorite scene in Apocalypse is also a Quicksilver scene. It's when Quicksilver goes toe-to-toe with Apocalypse, and Apocalypse just breaks his leg.
See,
I like the angel transformation scene.
That's
lot,
also a good
actually.
scene.
I don't like that because Apocalypse shouldn't have super speed, and that all transpired in like
He didn't
1
have
second.
super speed.
Yeah, his eyes went that he.
Yeah, it took him a while to conjure his powers.
No, it didn't. It took him less than a second to conjure his powers.
No, it didn't.
Yeah,
It took him several seconds.
that was all in 1 second.
No, it wasn't. It was several seconds
We're
long.
getting a little bit off track. Yeah, in this trailer, I hope that they give like characters like Storm or what have you, characters who have.
Well, Storm
I've-
just got introduced the last movie, so it makes
Yeah,
sense she
but
doesn't have
they'll
super
give-
you can
character
introduce someone in a
development.
movie and also give them a good arc in the same movie. They just threw her in, like she's there too.
You can and you can't because it's already an ensemble to begin with. So adding in another
Well, with this
ensemble on top
particular
of the
one, yeah.
ensemble.
But even still, you look at something like
Psylocke, who had no character development or lines.
the first X-Men, actually,
No.
that had like 10-ish characters, and a lot of them were supporting, but they all, not all, but most of them had like standout moments. You know what I mean? I feel like Storm was in the last one just to be a villain for a bit, and then changed.
It was really just to reintroduce Storm.
Yeah.
And she got a credit where credit's due. She looks so much like Holly Berry's Storm, but young. Like
Yeah,
they got
it's
that dead
really
on.
That's the
good.
only one where I think realistically in 10 years you could become Holly Berry.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like Jean Grey as well.
I mean,
And baby Patrick Stewart over here.
No, that's funny. I think this could work,
Mm-hmm.
not because James McAvoy's so old, but because Patrick Stewart is so ageless.
Yeah,
absolutely.
exactly.
I can
do you
see
remember
him
that
becoming-
part in Days of Future Past? It was in the trailer too, where Charles and Charles look at each other. Their noses are It's like
It's like a face.
a reflection.
Yeah. No, it's good. All
One
right.
has hair is the only difference.
So we want to keep going?
Yes,
No.
absolutely.
Into what? We didn't come here looking for answers. We came here looking for permission.
20th Century Fox, baby. This is cool. I love
So
that. Mm-hmm.
let me pause right there. I want to bring this up. Do you guys think it's going to be Stryker?
Stryker? I don't know. Are you talking about the same guy from the prequel Stryker where he
The Weapon X program
yeah,
Stryker.
So who's technically the same Stryker, I guess, even
Yeah.
though that's strange. I don't know because in
Also,
this
one of the
world-
biggest plot holes in the entire series,
Days of
because
Future
at the
Past?
end of Days of Future Past, he's actually Mystique.
I thought that scene was perfectly fine without the Mystique eyes. It was like, oh, that makes total sense.
Yeah.
And then Mystique eyes, and it's like you did that because you could do that.
He
Just
did
threw
that
in
because
there.
that's how the original X-Men movie ends.
yeah, it's
Also, why does Mystique like that's
doesn't
those are
make
the
any
only
sense.
times?
And then
Mystique's-
Apocalypse just ignores it and is like, Stryker actually got them or whatever. It's like, what?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like what was the point in that scene?
Yeah. Well,
it works
if
so much
we're going
better,
off of because this movie is not immediately, but sometime after Apocalypse. If we're
10
going off
years
of
after Apocalypse.
that, in Apocalypse, Stryker did capture like the 5 or 6 little young mutants there. So,
Yeah.
do you think? What was your question? Do you think Stryker?
Do you think it's going to be because we see military in this trailer? Do you think it's going to be Stryker in the Weapon X program? I think it will be.
I
don't
think
know.
with the absence of Wolverine, I
has
don't
to
know
be.
if Weapon X has much of a place in this world anymore because aside from Wolverine and Deadpool, no one really
It doesn't need to be
significant gets
Weapon
them.
X specifically.
Oh no,
It
you
can
mean okay?
It
An
can be
iteration
the,
of,
just
or-
the idea of the military wanting to destroy the mutants or control the mutants, and I think Stryker is the figurehead of that. You know, that's the most
Sure,
easily
maybe-
identifiable.
I see what you're saying. So like maybe Jean Grey is destroying some military stuff because of the Phoenix, and then that gives
Also,
Stryker a
I
warrant
could
to be
totally
like,
see Stryker wants the most powerful mutants in the Weapon X program. Jean Grey is a powerful mutant.
Well, when she destroys the military stuff, that could give Stryker like some kind of warrant to be like, okay, see, mutants are bad, fund me,
Exactly.
and then they'll be like, here's all the money, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That could make
Alright.
sense.
That's what we're coming after.
This is when they go to space.
That's her house exploding like Charles.
This is your
What?
So there's
I like how you just paused on Beast's face. Like,
let's talk about the Beast and Charles dynamic.
Okay.
Because aside from I'd argue the main three, we have Mystique, Magneto, and Professor X. Those are like the main three. Those are the big three of the new.
Right, that was the prequel one. Yep.
Beast has been there
Beast has been there
in
throughout
every
all
movie.
of them.
Yeah.
He has always been like a timid-ish character, unless he's actually Beast, and even then he's still a bit timid. But when he really cares about something is when Mystique and him have like a relationship.
Yeah.
So I think since he's flipping out in Charles in this scene,
Mystique's dead.
either Mystique's dead or
she's lost somewhere.
Charles
Or
inadvertently betrayed Mystique, or
No,
Mystique.
I 100% believe Mystique is going to die in this movie.
I mean, they
J
showed-
Law It's a known fact. Jennifer Lawrence has not wanted to be in these movies
True.
for a while now.
Yeah, the past
This
two.
might be her last one, and the studio might be, wow, she's not really. She phoned in her X-Men Apocalypse performance, so
She
why not
did.
kill her off?
She did.
And then also you get funeral scenes, and she's nowhere else in the funeral.
Yeah.
So
No, Mystique's dead, 100%.
this trailer really pushes
and
her dying.
I think that's okay.
I think
Me
that's
too.
okay.
I think we've had
'cause it's a
four.
risk.
We've had 4 prequel movies with Mystique in it, including this, and we've had Mystique in all 3 of the original X-Men. I think Mystique as a character has had her
Especially
time.
because Wolverine, I'd argue, is the main character of the original trilogy.
Yep.
And then Wolverine's had his own trilogy. And so far in these movies, it's been about Professor X, Magneto, and Mystique.
Yes.
I'd argue in the last movie, Magneto and Professor X started to take a back seat.
And it was more about Mystique.
And it was more about Mystique. So if you kill off Mystique now you open the door for this movie to be about Jean Grey, about Cyclops, about Quicksilver, about Nightcrawler.
in a lot of the marketing, a lot of marketing for X-Men movies is just the whole cast onto the poster at once. But some of the marketing for Apocalypse was Apocalypse holding up Mystique like by the throat, and it was like X-Men Apocalypse, and that was the whole thing. So that
Yeah.
was kind of showing that like she's the protagonist.
Exactly.
In this movie.
So I think it's actually a good idea to get rid of Mystique, especially on the heels of Logan exiting the series.
And
because
on top of that, I would argue that Mystique has been really well developed in this series of movies. I mean,
Yeah, no, definitely.
Apocalypse included, she phones in her performance a little bit, but I think
you
the writing's
still
still
understand
there.
her story.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no. So I think because like
That'd be so
I know
powerful.
James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender are totally okay with taking a backseat to play Magneto and
Yep.
Xavier, because at the end of the day, to me, the X-Men films are always supposed to be a giant chess match between the two. It's summarized in that
Yes.
scene at the end of X-Men when
Yes.
when Professor Xavier
Love
and
that
Magneto
scene.
are playing chess
I mean,
with glass
it
and
appeals to my
plastic.
heartstrings since I love chess, but I
Yes.
also love these movies, and one of the reasons I do is because of that wonderful chess scene.
Yeah, so I think that's the point. So I think it's a good idea to take James McAvoy, to take Michael Fassbender, have them on the backseat, and make these movies about who they've really meant to be about for so long, which is
The X-Men
the
team.
X-Men,
Yep.
Cyclops, Jean Grey, Nightcrawler, Quicksilver.
Yeah.
Even introduce some new ones that we don't
I
really
honestly,
know.
I think a select few X-Men movies are about the whole team. I think those.
I think X2 is the one that's really about the whole team, and that's why it's one of the best.
X2
Yeah.
is about the whole team. I don't want to talk about X3. I'd argue First Class is about the team, not Future Past is mostly about Wolverine and
Yeah.
Charles, and young Charles and old Charles. And then Apocalypse started to sort of be about the team, and then it kind of veered off, which is why I really didn't like it that much.
Yep.
Because
So I'd say Apocalypse, X2, and First Class are the movies that are about a team.
Apocalypse started to. I'd say X2 and First Class are the only 2
Okay.
movies about an X-Men team.
Fully about them, and then Apocalypse is like
Yeah.
it
Starts
gets a
to.
participation award.
I hope, more or less. I hope that
gets
in
a
this movie, maybe the first half is about like the main 3 or 4, and then Jean Grey goes crazy, and then after the death, that starts to unite the team, or kind of at least motivate them to do something about it.
Yep.
And not in like the cheesy Avengers way that every movie tries to do now, where it's like, let's all fight the big bad guy at the same time. Like
These
I'd
were
rather-
playing cards. They
Yeah.
were in his suit jacket.
they're all bloody now. Oh, better be a team.
Sir, those were in Coulson's locker. You have lockers on this thing?
Exactly.
So why doesn't Coulson have an office? He seems like a high-ranking
I
analyst.
mean,
It's whatever.
the third act of Apocalypse was very trying to be the Avengers with like
Yeah.
100%.
Cyclops using his laser power and Beast is using his throw power.
See, I actually,
and everyone using
I'm
their
gonna
own
fire
power.
in with this one. I think they did the everyone fire your beams at once to defeat the villain better than Age of Ultron did.
That's not that hard.
but not better than Avengers did, and it felt like it
But
was
they
trying
didn't
to be the
have that
Avengers.
moment in Avengers where it's let's all fire our beams together. I think
There
it's
are
a
a lot
cliche.
of swooping camera shots where they're all fighting different things, sometimes together, fighting the Chitauri.
I agree, but I'm talking about specifically the let's all fire our beams at the same time
know.
like they do in
And
Age
inclusion,
of Ultron.
and inclusion in that Avengers movie. If in the Avengers movie they all fired their lasers and beams at Loki, it would have been much worse.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
I think the Hulk just wiping him out. Is
I
just
think either
perfect.
way, the whole cliche of we're all firing the beams at the same time is
It's
stupid.
kinda silly,
It's
yeah.
silly, but I think Apocalypse did it just a bit better.
True, but I didn't like it in either one of those movies.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Even in Age of Ultron, like I thought Thor with his lightning powers, and then Vision with his head beam, and then Iron Man with his beams. They're all melting. I thought that was like really
yeah,
like
it was
and
weird.
like Ultron physically starts to melt, and I was like, that's
like a
really
toy commercial to me. You know
dumb.
what I mean?
You know,
it wasn't even like a movie.
yeah.
But
all right, so
aside
let's,
from that, Dark Phoenix looks
let's
really
get back-
promising.
yeah, let's get
we
back to
started
Dark
talking
Phoenix.
about the Beast scene with Charles. So yeah,
there we go.
we just paused it 1 second later
Good
when he's
pause.
surrounded by the fire.
Also,
this is a really good
he's
shot.
looking great.
What do you think is happening in this shot? Do you think he's
he is
using
seeing?
Cerebro
He is seeing into Jean Grey's mind.
with Cerebro?
Yep.
I think that's what it is too. I don't think it's a literal Phoenix powers
He's also-
appearing. He's also what?
I'll tell you later.
Oh yeah, let's just move
Yeah,
on.
he is just in massive amounts of pain.
I like that shot where the Cerebro is engulfed in flames that are.
Yeah.
I mean,
like that a
okay,
lot.
Cerebro got destroyed in the last movie, and I'm pretty sure it was destroyed in the movie before that, or it wasn't functioning. So like, it's a theme. Let's
So-
blow up Cerebro.
What do you
Yeah, we
think
have to
of
rebuild that
the
every
music?
time.
I like all of the music in the trailer except the parts where they go the end over and over again.
Yep.
I disagree.
You disagree? You like it?
I like when trailers. It's been the trend. I like when trailers use songs from real life in their trailers. Sometimes they're remixes. Sometimes they're the originals. I like this.
See, I
use
like it
of the
too. I
Bend
just
by the
don't like.
Doors.
I don't like when the lyrics are heavy-handed. Like in Amazing Spider-Man 2, they incorporated what the character was thinking into the soundtrack. He's like, Spider-Man is afraid of me, and I have to destroy the whole city. Like that was the lyrics of the song, and
Yep.
it's like, what are you doing?
What?
Yeah,
Yeah,
if you
no,
listen,
that's-
you
that's a
haven't seen
real
Amazing
thing.
2. They put the lyrics to what Electro was thinking as the lyrics of the soundtrack instead of putting it in the movie. It
Yeah,
was
it's pretty good.
It's
I
why
don't want to see this movie anymore.
So okay.
Not
as if
even
you as if you did in
ironic.
the first place.
Yeah,
But-
you're right.
Talking about movie like trailer soundtracks, I hate almost every movie trailer soundtrack. Just on
See, I
principle.
strongly disagree.
No,
I strongly
Mike.
disagree as well.
For this one, it's not bad. But most movie trailers, they do like. They go through phases of every movie trailer being exactly the same.
Yeah, no, every movie
And
trailer is
it's so
This was kicked
frustrating.
off by Guardians of the Galaxy when they used "Hooked on a Feeling."
Yep.
This is what, because
They
then
use the happy-go-lucky soundtrack for everything, and then
not
you
only
know.
that, but then they also use the haunting rendition of a classic
Yep.
with strings to
Yep.
Age of Ultron,
Yep.
and then we see that here. We see it in New Mutants with that
And we see it
haunting
with a
rendition
bunch
of
of
Brick and
movies.
the
You know,
Wall.
Yeah.
haunting renditions used to be just for horror, and now it's for like
Everything.
a blockbuster with a
Yeah.
dark take.
See, I like the song in New Mutants. It really fits. Just that
Yeah.
leave those kids alone to the
I
beat
like
of
that
like
too.
the horror. I really like the New Mutants trailer.
It's
we
all
talked
about
about it
how
when it
it's
first
done,
dropped.
and
Yeah.
well,
But most of the time, it's just annoying.
But here's my
and
thing.
grating, and I can't deal with
the
it.
simple fact of the matter is, if they had used the Doors version of the end, you'd think this was a Vietnam movie.
Yeah,
That's just a
true.
fact.
absolutely. So,
All right,
let's hit play.
so keep going.
Yep.
We're at 128.
Sure. Oh, pause it. I'm sorry. I know we've been 1 second into it.
2 seconds actually.
Here's the
We're
thing.
at 30 now.
Here's the thing. There's a scene that we just went over where Charles is looking at Jean Grey
Inner sleep.
in her sleep,
Like a freak.
like a little bit of a
Weirdo.
freak. But like last movie in Apocalypse,
There was a
Apocalypse
scene like that.
very much set up Phoenix.
Oh yeah,
this whole
that
movie.
was the point of Apocalypse.
That's one of the reasons I was less keen on that whole movie. We keep badgering that movie, but this is a sequel to that movie, so it's relevant. But there was a scene where I don't know if she was actually melting the walls, but like I think she dreamt of melting the. I don't know. But
yeah, no, I remember that scene in Apocalypse.
there was a scene where like you have this great power in you, and she's like, I don't know what it is, and he's like, it's so powerful, everything's on fire. And then later in the movie, she's like, Charles is
Release
like,
your power.
release your power, and then she looks like a phoenix, and it's like, oh,
It's the feet.
it's not even trying to be subtle. It's
You
definitely
guys
just,
are doing Dark Phoenix.
everyone in that movie is going, guys, the next one's gonna be Phoenix. Guys,
Yeah.
can't wait for the next one. Like,
Eh.
anyway, hit play.
All right, stop right now. I'm kidding.
Shut up.
Charles, and there's always a speech.
He puts on his helmet.
Pause it. That's so good. I love it.
That's
I
one
love,
of Michael Fassbender's best lines as Magneto. Is
You're always sorry, Charles.
Yes, and there's always a speech.
and no one cares. He's getting fed up with Charles's
And it-
bowl.
I think that works so well. That can
does.
totally explain Magneto's probable switch at the end of this movie back to bad guy. Mm-hmm.
Or
like,
morally
He's
great
fed
again.
up with
he's
Charles.
tried Charles's way, and it always ends the same
Because the
with an
end-
empty speech and an apology.
Yeah.
And a
Yes.
dead person.
The
And
end of
and somebody
Apocalypse.
dies.
Yeah, the end of Apocalypse had basically Magneto's philosophy was like, I don't agree with the X-Men. I'm not going to be an X-Men, but you guys can do your own thing, and I'll go my own way. Now there's a crisis. Obviously, something huge has happened with relating to Phoenix, and everyone is blaming Charles. And Magneto, who's always blamed Charles, tries to apologize, and then he's like, you know what? You always do this.
This is it. This is the last straw.
This is the
I am
last time.
Done.
I doubt it'll actually be the last time he switches sides, but you know.
I'd actually,
Well, it's
I
gonna be
could
the last-
actually see it finally being like this is the last straw. I like this idea of it being a reverse heroes, or I don't know if it's a reverse hero's journey. I don't know what the word is, but like Magneto starts out as a bad guy, becomes a good guy, then goes back to being a
Yep.
bad guy. That is such a great inverse of like the
love it.
typical like hero to villain to hero again.
I love the indecision too. It's the same reason I love Kylo Ren, because you see his turmoils, his back
Yeah.
and forth when he does something.
That is something these movies do well. Is you see the different flavors to Magneto. You see him try to be rough and aggressive
Yep.
in First Class. You see him try to work with humans in Days of Future Past.
Absolutely.
You see him try to just forget it all and move on in Apocalypse, and now you're seeing him try to separate himself from humans in Dark Phoenix, and it's not going to work again, and finally he's going to break, and he's probably going to go back to his original philosophy.
Let me ask you both a question. Each prequel X-Men movie, let's assume they make another one because Disney might
I
happen,
hope
who
they
knows?
do, actually.
Each X-Men prequel movie so far has taken place over another decade. The next decade is 2000.
Which is when the original started.
Do you think that this movie is trying to set up not a reboot, but something in the vein of that first X-Men movie where Magneto is the true villain and has all this cast?
Yeah, I
You
100% think so.
I would love to see that. Not
And
like
I'd
a
love
remake.
to.
But
All right, I'd love to see a rehash of what they did at the end of First Class, which is take the X-Men and divide it. Half of them side with Charles, half of them side with Magneto,
And then you got your Brotherhood of Mutants.
and then you've got Brotherhood of Mutants.
Throw
which-
Toad in there. I miss Toad.
Ray Park,
Ray
come
Park
back.
is Toad. Come back. I will bring him back. I know he's
I will
going to be
bring him
like
back. Sabretooth.
years, like 2 decades older, but like put him in.
Do what you set up at the end of First Class and follow through on it. That's one of my biggest problems with Days of Future Past is like, what happened to the teams?
Yeah.
Oh, they all died off screen.
Yeah.
What was the point? What was the point of that? The beautiful.
Oh, do you mean the end of Future Past where
No.
it's set
I'm
up-
talking about the end of First Class when
First
Charles is bleeding on the beach, and it's Havoc, and it's Banshee, and it's Beast, and then Magneto takes Mystique and the Brotherhood of Evil or whatever.
Brotherhood of Evil is
Brotherhood
such
of
a
Mutants
stupid
is
name.
the name.
Brotherhood of Evil. That's a
Brotherhood
that's
of Mutants is the
the
actual
Brotherhood
name.
of Mutants. No, well, the
It's
Hellfire
slightly
Club.
less stupid.
I can
Hellfire
say
Club.
that on air because
But
it's the
they-
official title. He takes the remainder of the Hellfire Club and he takes Mystique, and boom, you have the Brotherhood of Mutants. And you think the next movie is going to be Professor X, Banshee, Havoc, Beast, and maybe a few others.
X-Men
And then you
movies-
come back and it's only Beast, and you're like, what happened to Havoc and Banshee?
X-Men
Well, Havoc
movies have
has a
this, like,
2-second cameo,
they
and
have this-
Banshee died.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's this habit between all these movies where they end on a note where you see this team form and you're like, oh.
And then the next movie, they
absolutely.
destroy the team.
And then the
Yeah.
next movie is like, oh, the team's divided or they all died. One of the two or both. It's like, oh, come on. We just gave us End of Apocalypse. The whole team is formed. You got the classic music and then Dark Phoenix. Although I think from the description of Dark Phoenix, they're going to start out with the team doing something as a team.
Yeah, they're gonna be
go
a team.
to space
they're gonna
and
be
stop
a
a
team
threat.
through and through. They're
well,
gonna start as a team and they're gonna end as a
they're
team.
clearly
There will
gonna-
be something that's gonna shake the team,
Yep.
sure, but they will never fully break. I don't think.
I hope not.
I hope not. So I want to see this movie end with maybe like Quicksilver going over to Magneto's side.
Goodness. That'd be so good.
cool.
That'd be such a great moment.
Can you
as
imagine an
character.
evil The whole X-Men's done. If Quicksilver goes evil, they're all done.
Yeah.
What are they going to do?
I'd love to see that. I want to see the next movie be Magneto and Quicksilver against the X-Men, father and son.
That'd be cool.
And you know what? She's technically dead right now. Who knows? She'll stay dead. Bring in Scarlet Witch. I want Scarlet Witch.
That'd be so good.
Have Magneto use his metal
I mean,
powers to bring her
you
back
know
to
what?
life.
No, what if
Fox could
guys?
use
Let me
Scarlet
throw this
Witch.
one out there. What if the entirety of the X-Men universe takes place inside the Soul Stone and all the victims of the Snap are about to appear? I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding. But like,
So funny.
imagine that. Imagine Elizabeth Olsen showing up and meeting the X-Men Quicksilver, and she's like, "You're not my brother," and he's like, "Yes, I am."
Yeah, hi. How you
Be
doing?
so good.
Anyway,
I would
Except
love to
she'd
see
talk in a regular accent.
Yeah.
kind of.
But, you know.
all right.
crossover
So
like that.
keep going.
Keep going.
All right. Pause. Cyclops is wearing his signature. I'm kidding.
Another 1 second.
There's a lot of crying in this trailer. Okay, hold on.
Not
Let's
enough crying.
let's
Pause
rewind for a second. We got two
Rewinding?
shots. Let's see what we got here. We got Beast.
Yep.
Magneto. I don't know who that is.
Let me take a look.
It's really grainy. It might be.
grainy.
It's not Storm because Storm's in the next shot.
Is she-
black? So that's also not Storm. But Professor X is looking at them.
Point is,
She a
and then
bad
you got Storm, Nightcrawler, and Cyclops. This could be the beginnings of what I'm talking about. The team dividing over how to handle Jean Grey.
Oh.
And I like Beast has switched sides.
So you know how Mystique
Because
is...
he was yelling at Charles
also,
earlier.
another
Yeah.
thing, too. Mystique is barely in this trailer. Do you think that's because they don't want to build up the Mystiques in the movie and then they kill her and then everyone gets disappointed?
Maybe, yeah.
I think it's just she's gonna die super early,
Well,
so they don't have
I do
enough
too.
shots of her to put in the trailer.
I think either halfway or before the halfway point.
Before the halfway
Yeah,
point.
I think before the
It'll
halfway
probably
point.
be it won't be the Dark Night of the Soul moment, but let me throw this one out there. This is gonna be Beast's movie.
I hope so. Beast hasn't had enough.
Beast has been
again
in
ties into that
every
point.
movie, and he
Storm,
doesn't
Beast.
get
These characters
anything.
haven't really had
Nick
too much to
Holt
shine.
plays Beast, and Nick Holt is an amazing actor.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think Storm had the most to do in the very first X-Men movie.
Yeah.
She had like a relationship with the senator, not like a relationship, like she her interaction with him when he turned into a water man and then turned into water. I think that was like a great scene.
Turned into a waterman.
And then turned into the Shape of Water.
The Shape of Water, the movie.
All right, moving on. Military trucks, military guys, Cyclops.
All right, pause. So Mystique's gonna die, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Like,
Yeah.
that's
That's a fact.
That's what we're gathering from this trailer. I'll be
Factual
shocked if
evidence.
she doesn't. But when she does, do you think that it's gonna be the same thing that usually happens, where Mystique was a decoy, so the villain would be distracted, and the
Oh,
actual guy that she became?
No, I
freaks out?
actually, let me throw this one out there. I think Mystique's going to die at the end of Act 1.
Act 1.
They're going to fire in hot.
Phoenix is gonna kill
Phoenix, they're going to
Mystique.
open with the space mission. All right?
It's all happy-go-lucky.
It's all happy-go-lucky.
Something's
She's going to
wrong.
get infected. That's going to make up the first half of the movie. And then Phoenix is going to escape, and on her way out, boom.
Maybe
kill
she's
Mystique.
fighting military guys, and then to stop it, Mystique jumps in. And
Yep.
she's
No, I think this movie's going to be going from the moment
Mm-hmm.
it starts.
I will respect it a lot more if it's not Phoenix is gonna kill someone and then Mystique jumps in the way, like if instead of the
Oh, it'll
gun-
100% be Phoenix about to kill somebody, and the Mystique jumps in the way.
Oh,
It's going to be.
I hate that. No one does that in real life. No, you'd have to be perfectly timed.
I would much rather it be Phoenix is on her way out, Mystique tries to stop her, bam, Mystique dies.
That'd be so
Yeah,
good.
that'd
But
That'd
anyway,
be so good, because that would also set up Magneto being so upset, because Mystique was Magneto's protege in these
Absolutely.
movies. So for him to lose his protege, I think that would be the line that Magneto would finally be like, no, especially because of the newly established relationship between Mystique and Professor X in these movies, where they're step siblings
Yep.
or adopted siblings. To quote Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man and Spider-Man: Homecoming, someone dies, that's on you. If you die, that's on me. That's going to be Magneto to Charles. Like, anybody else dies, it's on X, Y, and Z.
Absolutely.
Mystique, that crosses a line.
that does cross the line,
Yeah.
and that would be the dividing moment where Magneto goes, there's always a speech, there's always an apology, no one cares.
Yeah.
That's what makes Magneto divert so much.
That's what's going to break Magneto, is the fact that Mystique dies, because
Absolutely.
I
Who
feel
else
like
does he care about?
There
know?
also wasn't this moment, but I really wanted it's that, again, bringing it back to Homecoming, there's that line of, I wanted to be like you, Magneto, no, I wanted you to be
Better. Yep.
Magneto saw the future of the mutants in Mystique, I think. You know, it's probably not as on the surface level, but I think that can be implied. Magneto sees the future of the mutants in Mystique.
Yep.
And
Let's hit-
for her to die
I
in
mean-
such a crappy way, that's just 100% done. Charles Way does not work. It gets people killed. There are no good results.
and that will fracture the team and have a portion of them join the Hellfire Club.
I'm calling
Brotherhood of
Quicksilver
Mutants.
and Beast are going to switch sides.
I don't think
Because,
Quicksilver.
no, let me explain why.
I like the
Those
idea
are
of
the two
Quicksilver,
who
but
we
I
have
don't think he's-
established thus far are the closest to Mystique, are Quicksilver and Beast.
I still think Quicksilver's too level-headed to actually be like, Magneto's got a point.
No, that's exactly why.
I think
he's-
just because he's his dad, I don't think that
I don't
would
think he
cause
likes
a
him that
switch.
It's not
much,
about the
to be
dad thing.
honest.
I think Quicksilver's going to go, Mystique's dead. Like, you can't avoid that.
Well, how long has Quicksilver really known Mystique? Wasn't she a
Technically-
threat in his first movie?
Technically,
was
20
Indivisible?
years.
Well,
On
okay, I'll
technicality.
give you that because there's supposed to be a 20-year gap between these. But
Also, they
as far as the
quote
character developments in the
unquote
movie,
bonded in Apocalypse.
literally these movies could be over like a few weeks, and they've taken over like 40
Again,
years.
like I said, I'm okay with the 10-year gap between First Class and Days of Future Past.
Yep.
That one kind of works. It makes sense. From then on, you really
they were
could
just like,
say
oh,
it's
it
been-
worked once, do it every single
Yeah,
movie.
from then on, I could just be, oh, it's been 2 years.
Oh,
it's been 2
I
years.
still like the idea though that they literally just like overlooked that plot hole just so they could be like, this is a new era. You know, I think
it's
that's
stupid.
kind of funny for them to do.
All right, we
Anyway,
want to
go
keep
on.
going. We're
Yeah.
almost done.
They're right to scare me.
All right, so we got Magneto screaming.
As per usual, I'd argue every prequel.
Yep,
movie
we
has
got
that.
Charles
Nightcrawler.
taking what looks like Beast's hands, but
Are
they
those
also might be
Nightcrawler or
Nightcrawler.
Beast?
No, they're
I think
Nightcrawler's
it's
hands.
I think it's beyond Magneto. I think just Michael Fassbender in every movie he's in at least one moment where he just screams to the heavens.
Probably in his contract.
It's in his
Yeah.
contract. He has to have one yelling moment. Whether
It's like Taylor Lautner being shirtless, Michael Fassbender screaming.
Tom
Remember
Cruise
that
running.
scene in Apocalypse where like here's the Auschwitz and then he goes "Wah!" and destroys all of Auschwitz at once.
Yeah, that was a pretty good scene.
Anyway, go on.
All right, so that was Nightcrawler.
That's the only bit.
That was 100% Beast touching Mystique's dead body.
Yeah.
It could be, but it's definitely probably is. I love that line. I love that shot. I
Dark
love that
Phoenix
title.
with
I
the
love
circle
everything.
around
I'm
the
just saying
X.
she could kill me. It's
All right,
fine.
trailer's over.
Finally,
What do you
trailer is
think
over.
about
that only
this-
took us, how long has it been? That only took us about half an hour to get through.
It's not the first movie in this franchise to not use X-Men. It's the first team movie not to have X-Men in the title. So what do you think about that? Just called Dark Phoenix.
I mean, people are still going to call it X-Men Dark Phoenix.
Probably,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm surprised they didn't. I mean, I would
I
have
bet
assumed
it.
they'd
Hang
go
on, I'm
X-Men
going to
Dark
look it
Phoenix.
up. Dark I bet it's called that. It's the same way that Star Wars Episode 8 The Last Jedi is called
X-Men
Star Wars.
Dark Phoenix,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's
On
the same way
IMDb.
that it's Star Wars Episode 8 The Last Jedi, but it's marketed as The Last Jedi, even
Yep.
though it's Star Wars Episode 8 The Last
Yep.
Jedi.
Yeah.
Yeah, see if you can pull up the movie because I'm pretty sure, like, on the movie's, like, pages and stuff. Yeah.
Nope,
see,
it's titled Dark Phoenix.
yeah, that's what I thought.
I'm still going to call it X-Men Dark Phoenix.
Yeah.
Well,
'cause
I mean,
it-
it's an X-Men movie.
All right,
but-
so the guy directing it is Simon Kinberg.
Well, I think
Well,
they
hang on.
know.
Let's look into this.
He
real
did
quick.
Deadpool too.
He
is a
also
producer.
has he's going to be story writing and screenwriting the untitled Star Wars anthology film that he's writing with Joe Mangold, who wrote Logan. So that
Oh,
might
is it
be-
the Boba Fett one probably?
Yep. He was a producer on Murder on the Orient Express.
Well, his big thing is that he's been in this franchise as a producer for years.
I should throw this one out there. He has no directing credits.
Yeah, this is his. I don't like a director's first time being a blockbuster.
No,
Me either.
Because it
He
costs
directed Dark Phoenix.
$200 million
Ian,
to make
shut
a
up.
movie
You're
like
welcome.
a blockbuster, like a superhero movie.
Yeah.
Now, what's going for him is that he's been in this franchise for the past like 5, 6, 7 years.
So he knows the characters, and he's got plenty of writing credits. Oh, guys, no, he wrote Fantastic Four.
So can I just say something that
Stop.
What a coincidence that the period in time in which Bryan Singer has all these accusations against him and gets kicked off of the Fox project, he jumps in as director and is like, all right, I'll do these movies now. Do you think he's like the next spiritual Bryan Singer in a good way?
Nope, no, not at all. I'm looking
In
at
a
him right
good
now.
way.
He is 100%. This is going to sound really mean. He's a corporate puppet. I'm seeing it right now. He's got a lot of thanks credits for Star Wars, Let's Be Cops,
He made-
Elysium.
You don't like Let's Be Cops?
No, Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter.
That's a great movie.
What did he do to it?
He screenwrote it.
And the executive
God.
producer.
And This Means War with Tom Hardy and Chris Pine. That's another
This
good
guy,
out for.
did he write Dark Phoenix? Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he wrote Dark Phoenix. He also wrote This
He
Means
also
War.
wrote Fantastic
But he
Four.
also
Just wanna
wrote.
throw that out there.
He was also the screenwriter for Sherlock Holmes.
The first one?
Yep.
Okay.
Robert Downey Jr., screenwriter for X-Men: The Last Stand, which was his first foray into the X-Men universe.
Yes, but I'd give him credit.
He also,
I think he knows what's wrong with that
He
movie.
was a story writer for Triple X State of the Union.
Is that the
which is
first
the
one?
one
That's
with
the
Ice Cube?
No,
No, it's the second one. Yeah.
Oh
Yep.
my God.
Screenwriter for Fan Four Stick.
Oh no.
Screenwriter for Days of Future Past.
No.
Screenwriter. What do you mean?
Oh, Future Fast.
Way
Sorry,
to be
I thought-
preloaded. Screenwriter for Apocalypse.
I was still saying
And
no
then
after
he
Fan Four
produced
Stick.
Murder on the Orient Express, Logan, Deadpool 2, New Mutants, which hasn't come out yet, Cinderella from 2015.
So what this is telling me is that you're right completely.
He has a super mixed bag.
I think you're right. The mixed bag is pointing to him just being a corporate guy. He's
Yeah.
just like, oh, I'll do
Who they
whatever the
told,
studio wants
hey,
me to do.
he was literally like, hey, I've always wanted to direct a movie.
I've been producing for a while. Do you want to give me a chance?
X-Men good. I've read it.
good.
X-Men good.
Do you think there's going to be a plot device in this movie like the rest of the, or some of the movies where like it's either a serum or
100%.
it's
There's
little,
gonna
like,
be some sort of
cerebral
serum,
black goo
drugs.
where
Is
like,
there a
oh,
movie-
I can't
okay,
use
let
my
me-
powers now.
Actually, let me fire in with the. Is there a movie in the X-Men universe that doesn't feature drugs? Some sort of serum or drugs?
X-Men 1, the
Nope,
serum
nope.
to knock him out.
Yep. X2,
X2,
serum to control Charles.
Yep. X3,
X3,
the
serum
cure.
to cure mutants.
Yep.
Wolverine.
Like, ignore the Wolverines.
Origins Wolverine.
Well, Logan doesn't have a serum.
No.
It does. It has the one that makes him super strong Wolverine, man.
If you're
First-
counting liquid adamantium, then yes.
Yeah.
First Class.
Yep.
When?
Ooh.
What?
He injected it into his foot to make his foot better, but it turned him into Beast.
You're right.
Then-
The Wolverine serum to put the things on his heart to make him stop healing so
Yes.
well. Days of Future Past, serum to let Charles walk.
Yep.
Deadpool.
Serum to what is it? Is it the one that gave him his powers? It's a serum full
That
of
wasn't
Wolverine's
serum.
power.
Serum didn't give him his powers. It was an oxygen
No, they
deprivation
did.
tank.
They
injected him.
did inject him with something before that.
X-Men
And you have to-
Apocalypse.
Apocalypse, where's the serum? Which serum is it?
There's gotta be a serum in Apocalypse. I don't think there's a
I
serum.
don't think there is.
Is that
Is
the first movie that doesn't have drugs in it?
Logan. Serums to help him go beast mode at the end
Dude,
of the
that
film.
was
Yes.
such a good scene, though.
And
Deadpool 2.
There's no serum. There's
Okay.
high winds, though.
2 out of 11 films don't
have
feature
drugs in
serum.
the X-Men movies.
Got it. You got
Why
it.
are there so
It's
many?
actually an anti-drug PSA
Yeah,
series.
why are there so many drugs in this?
Yeah,
series?
it's part of the DARE program. They made the X-Men movies.
Well, I think it might be because it's a coping mechanism.
The
for-
mutants are an allegory for bullies.
It's a coping
peer
mechanism
pressure.
for people who have,
Some movies it's a plot device. I'd argue
Yeah.
most movies it's a plot device.
The only one where I can see that analogy is Days of Future Past, when
Yeah.
he is literally on drugs to suppress his
It was
powers.
both a plot
Yeah.
device and a coping mechanism.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hybrid of the two.
Oh my god, guys! Why is every movie in the X-Men universe about drugs?
It doesn't not about. It just has them in it.
It just
as an
has
important plot point.
subliminal.
As a
Yeah.
plot point.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'd argue the one that's most about drugs would be X-Men: Last Stand because it's the
Yeah,
They're
the
covered.
whole
Yeah,
one
they
of the
do.
half
plot.
of the plot is because there's two plots. One of the big plots is
The B plot is about the drugs.
here. Is that even a B plot or is it a second A plot?
I'd call it
A
the
part
B-
2.
It's A.
No, I call
I
it the B
call
plot.
it subsection A.
I call it B plot.
It's like a legal document with 1A subsection Q.
Yeah.
It's like what?
Anyways, wow, that is a lot of drugs.
A lot of drugs in the X-Men universe.
Not enough
Yeah.
drugs.
Point
Yeah.
is, Dark Phoenix. That's happening. I'm really excited. And you know what else too?
What?
It's shot. So unless Fox decides to New Mutants it, we're gonna get it.